everybody, it's Michelle at McDougall Cottage. I hope you're all staying safe and well. I'm back down at the cottage today with my trusty cameraman Josh. And since it's Good Friday of Easter weekend, today we're going to be making hot cross buns, as we traditionally do every Good Friday at the cottage. Now to get our hot cross buns started, what we have to do is get our starter mix going. So we have 2/3 of a cup of warm milk, a half a cup of warm water, a tablespoon of white granulated sugar, a tablespoon of dry active yeast, and 1 cup of all-purpose flour. So let's get started with our starter mix. What we're going to do is we're going to take our warm milk, our warm water, our sugar, and our yeast. And we're going to just give them a really good stir to dissolve the yeast. And we're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes or so just to let it get started and to begin to foam up. So it's been about 10 minutes or so, and you can see that our yeast mixture is all foamed up. So now we're going to go ahead and add our cup of flour. I'm going to mix that in with the yeast and the milk and the water. And then we're just going to set that aside and let it proof for about 10 to 15 minutes or so. So while your other mixture is proofing, you can go ahead and start putting together your dry ingredients. Here we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We have a half a teaspoon each of nutmeg, allspice, and cinnamon. We have a 1/4 cup of white sugar. And then we have a teaspoon of salt. And you can either sift these together or just whisk them together. Okay, once we've got that evenly mixed, we're going to go in and we're going to put in our dried fruit. So we're using 3/4 of a cup of currants and 1/3 of a cup of candied fruit. Now, not everybody will have this at home on hand. So what I'm going to say is wing it a little bit, have a little bit of fun. Put in the fruit that you like. If you prefer raisins, go ahead and add some raisins. Whatever you've got around the house. I'm sure that you'll get your own signature hot cross buns, and they'll taste just as delicious as the ones I'm making here now. So now we have our 2 mixtures here side by side. These are our dry ingredients, including the dried fruit, and then we have our wet mixture that we've been allowing to proof for the last 10 minutes or so. Now what we're going to do before we combine them is we're going to take 1 beaten egg and we're going to just gently mix it with 1/4 pound of melted butter. Once that's mixed up, we're just going to put that into our yeast mixture and give it a nice stir. And then we're going to incorporate our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. Now that's all nicely blended. We're going to go ahead and put our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. You can really smell the yeast. There we go. Now we've got those added together. We're going to go ahead and mix this into a really nice dough. Now that the dough has come together nicely, you can see that I've turned it out on a floured board here. And what I'm going to start to do is to knead it like this for about 8 to 10 minutes until it comes together nicely and is smooth and elasticy. It's a good workout. Okay, as you can see, our dough's come together nicely. It's nice and smooth and pliable. You can see it bounces back. So what you want to do now is take this ball of dough and to divide it into 12 equal pieces. Now, if you're really fussy, you can weigh out the pieces so that they're exactly the same, or you can eyeball it. But ideally, you do want them to be very similar in size so that they bake evenly. So I've divided my dough into 12 equal balls. I've rolled them into the bun shape. I've placed them on a baking tray with parchment, and now what I'm going to do is just cover them with a damp cloth and let them sit in a dry spot for about 25 minutes to rise. So our hot cross buns have been left to rise for about 25 minutes. Let's see how they look. Oh, they've risen beautifully. Now at this point, you would put on the pastry crosses. And I'm gonna have to be honest here, I have tried to put on the pastry crosses and they never stay on for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm simply going to cut across in each of the buns before I bake them. I've also seen this done as well. Now the recipe that we have up for you does show, or does give instructions about how to make the pastry crosses and how to put them on the buns. If you do the pastry method and it works out for you, please let us know because I would love to know what your secret trick is. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna score across into the top of all our buns. And once I've done that, I'm going to place them into a preheated 450-degree oven. So our beautiful hot cross buns are ready to go into the oven. I've preheated the oven to 425 degrees. I think before I said 450, that's not right. It's 425 degrees. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pop them in, and they're gonna bake for about 15 to 20 minutes or so. About 2 minutes before they're finished baking, we're gonna take them out, put some glaze on, and then finish them up back in the oven. So we'll see them in about 15 minutes or so. So while our hot cross buns are baking, what we're going to do is go ahead and make the glaze. So in a small saucepan on the stove top, you're going to put in 2 tablespoons of milk, 2 tablespoons of water, and then 3 tablespoons of white sugar. And we're just going to stir them up and heat them until the sugar's melted. So we'll be coming back to that glaze in a few minutes. Our hot cross buns have now been baking for about 18 minutes. And don't they look fantastic? So what we're going to do is take them out very quickly and put on the glaze, and then we're going to pop them back into our oven for about another 2 minutes. But so far, they are looking absolutely delicious. Now this is the glaze that we made on the stove top with the milk and the sugar and the water. We just brought it to a boil and then let it sit. And then the recipe says to heavily glaze the buns so that they get nice and shiny. So our first beautiful batch of hot cross buns is ready and out of the oven. You know, there are many interesting superstitions surrounding hot cross buns. One says that they will not spoil if they're baked or served on Good Friday, while another claims that they can protect against shipwrecks. A hot cross bun placed on the hearth is thought to protect from fire and also ensure that all of your breads are baked perfectly. Kissing a hot cross bun before eating it is said to bring good luck. Our favorite superstition, though, is the one that says that sharing a hot cross bun with a friend will guarantee good friendship for the coming year. We can't say whether or not these superstitions are true, but one thing we do know is that these traditional Scottish Easter treats are delicious, especially when they're freshly baked. Well, it's time to enjoy one of our delicious, freshly made hot cross buns. Oh my gosh, they look and smell amazing. In fact, the entire cottage smells absolutely delicious, like fresh baked bread and warm, lovely spices. Well, I'd like to wish all of you and yours a very happy Easter. Let us know how your hot cross buns turned out. If you're able to get those pesky pastry crosses to stick, I'd really like to know your secret. In the meantime, stay safe and stay well, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.